Hello again. I rather suspect that many viewers may not have been aware that a musical about the life of Marie Curie has opened in London at the Charing Cross Theatre. It is, by all accounts, not an especially brilliant production, and it also contains much to upset and disturb those of a sensitive or nervous disposition. I give a link to the website of the theatre in the description to this video, and it carries a formidable array of trigger warnings. Some of them are perhaps understandable. For instance, there is, it seems, strong language and depictions and discussion of death, including cancer-related ones. Other warnings are a little more difficult to understand. For example, under the heading of lighting and sound warnings, we find that there will be loud singing and music played by an orchestra. I would have thought that anybody going to see a musical in London's West End might actually be going because the thing will contain singing and music. Still, it is supposed, just as well that we are warned that there will be depictions of late 19th century, early 20th century bigotry towards people with Polish nationality. What we are not warned about, though, is the bizarre spectacle of various 19th century Polish people being played by West Indians. I should think personally that this might prove more disconcerting to the audience than a bit of singing and music. When a fantasy series on the television, such as Game of Thrones or the Rings of Power, introduces black people and there are raised eyebrows, there's usually a chorus of left-wing folk ready to remind us that the thing is a fantasy and that skin colour is seldom specified, leaving the way open to cast Lenny Henry, for instance, as a hobbit, as was done in the Rings of Power. There may be some truth in this, but when one is producing a play about 19th century France and some genuine historical characters who were Polish, then surely the case is altered. When a named Polish person is shown being snubbed by French people because she is Polish, then it simply creates confusion if the character is played by a black person. It looks then as though she's a victim of racism rather than chauvinism. The whole scene looks a little bit absurd. Why are black actors brought in to be cast as Polish women, you ask? Is this a case of colourblind casting, where actors were auditioned and the best person chosen, who just so happened to be black? If you believe that, you'll believe anything. In fact, these days one is obliged in any play or opera to include a few black people, just to show that you are with it and anti-racist. In other words, the decision to cast black people is made long before the auditions have even begun. There may be an argument for making the point of casting a lot of black people in the fantasy series, as was done for the Game of Thrones spin-off House of the Dragon, because the books do not actually state the colour of the skin of any of the characters, but this is a bit different. Showing Marie Curie as having a best friend who is black is so plainly being done for ideological purposes that it's impossible not to be distracted by the character. This trend has now become almost a fixed practice, and it's probably not going to end anytime soon. As usual, though, I invite viewers to ask themselves why, when this kind of thing is done, it is almost invariably with black people being inserted artificially in this way, rather than, say, Hindus or Sikhs. I wonder if anybody would care to guess why that is. That when a member of an ethnic minority is put into the cast of a production like this, it is people of African origin rather than somebody from South Asia.